Never in history could we get data, facts, some true, some not true, information that would position us to be so smart. And yet AI maybe has caused us to be even more uninformed with what's really wise.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.
We are excited to welcome you to episode 755 of Life's Inside Track. And I'm Yetta Dekker.
And I'm Ken Dekker.
Thanks for connecting with us each week as we have conversations that are honest, that can help everyday Canadians build wealth wisely through life and real estate decisions, including exploring the wildly controversial, scary, phenomenal, crazy topic of AI.
Yeah. I mean, information creates options, but wisdom helps us choose between them. And that's the big issue is we're finding more and more overwhelm. Even though there's more and more information available, it's disseminating it. And AI can help with that, it doesn't, it lacks in certain areas, right? Like we use AI almost every day in our business.
We do.
It's an important tool.
Well, and we use it as a thought partner, not a thought decider.
And not a thought leader.
And not a thought leader. Like, no way is it leading the way for me. I'm directing, I'm guiding. And we started utilizing it right after it came out. Within days of it coming out, we were able to connect to it just because we had friends in the high-tech world that said, if you don't do it, you know, you're going to get left behind. And at first it was the data, let's face it, it's just a combination of all the public data it could ever find. It's all in there. So there's what do you call it? Controversial data. There's data that doesn't agree. There's contradictions within itself. So depending on how you ask the question, you're going to get an entirely different answer, and it's not all true.
Well, and you can check that by asking AI the same question or the same prompt several times in a row, and generally it will give you different data, different answers each time because it's kind of a random information generator, goes out to all the information it has and it says, I think this time this is what they're looking for.
Right? So it's really a probability machine. That's really what it is. And it can tell you what thousands of people did in maybe even the same scenario as you. And that sounds smart, right? For a minute, it sounds smart because it can't actually understand you. It can't actually care about you. It can't actually get below the surface and ask the next question that is the right question based on your way of handling the first bit of information emotionally, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a logic machine. And yes, they're building in emotions into it. It's the most empathetic friend I have. And I loosely call it friend. I do that as a joke to get you riled. It's not my friend. And yet it is sounding more and more compassionate, which makes the information and the data and the analysis it does sound wiser and wiser and wiser. And is it a trick? I mean, it's not an intentional trick. And it certainly can create poor decision-making, poor decision-makings.
Yeah, it can analyze market data. It can look at, estimate your value of your home. It can compare neighborhoods. It can tell you
Crime
what's
rates
in the neighborhood. It can tell you all kinds of things, school ratings, school jurisdictions, all kinds of stuff.
What's going to be built in the area. I mean, you still want to call. If you're in Ottawa, you still want to phone 311. You still want to talk to somebody at the city and verify what's the future plans for an area. I would never encourage you to rely solely on AI for that kind of thing because there's way too much potential for the data not to be 100% current or even to be 100% accurate. Right. So you still want to do your other due diligence. And yet I think for a lot of people, they thought that maybe it could replace a realtor. Let's be real. That's part of this conversation.
Yeah, the problem with AI, though, is it doesn't know your family. It doesn't know your fears. It doesn't know your goals, your life goals. It doesn't know your values and what season of life you're in and what you really want out of life.
And if you could tell it all that.
You could.
You could give it. Most people don't have 100% clarity on all that. So it's hard to tell it something you don't have total clarity about. And even then, if you had crystal clarity about all those things that Ken just said, your character, your values, your goals, your dreams, your aspirations for the next 10 years, what you believe is right for you, even if you told it everything, if you asked it the same question more than once, you are going to get different answers. Test it.
Yeah, and that's the issue with it and it making a decision that might be right or wrong. There was a skit recently on YouTube that I laughed and laughed because it was a scene.
You laughed and laughed?
I did. And it had people getting on an airplane and they were all seated. And then the announcement came on and it said, "Welcome to this flight. This is your AI pilot. This is our inaugural flight. We will not have any pilots on this plane other than AI." And people started screaming and getting up and trying to get out the door. And the door wasn't closed yet. And people were exiting the plane. They were just not going to be on a flight that didn't have a human expert also there. That's not to say planes fly all the time on autopilot and through storms, they're guided. But there's somebody there who's human, who has their life on the line and all of yours, and they're making the best decision possible at the moment.
Which we need. And so whether we're talking real estate or being on an airplane, we're saying AI is a great asset for analysis, as long as you double check your facts. And then even if you double check your facts, it doesn't actually care about you.
It says it does.
I know. It sounds
They
so
programmed that into it.
good. It's programmed accordingly. And so what we're suggesting is if you feel like it's guided you this far and that you're certain about a decision, and now you're saying, well, maybe I'm not as certain as I thought I was because it was a machine directing me based on other people's decisions, then I would more than just encourage, I would definitely invite you strongly, a real genuine invitation to book a clarity call. Because in that clarity call, if you lay it all out, we don't have any answers. What we have is more questions, which is like, well, how's that helpful, Yetta? Well, that's helpful because we're an unbiased third party that has been down a similar path or a path with over 3,000 families that give us some wisdom and discernment and ability to know what has happened for them. And I know that may sound a little bit like AI. There is a little difference, though. One has heart and heartbeat, and one doesn't.
Yeah, and I think the AI can tell you what thousands of families have done, but it necessarily can't help you discern what you should do or what's the best thing for you to do. And that's where the difference lies, right?
Well, because it can't actually understand you. Like it can simulate understanding you.
Yeah.
No, that's the bottom line. It can assimilate understanding you and even sound like it understands you, but a machine can't actually understand you.
Yeah. And so once you've done all that,
right,
then I think the next best step is to book a clarity call with us.
Isn't that what I just said?
Yes.
And you're doing it again?
I want to give them the how to.
I forgot that part.
Yeah. Jump on
sorry.
Dekkerteam.com, DEKKERTEAM.com, and book your 15-minute clarity call. It may lead to another appointment, but it's free, it's easy, and it's a what do I call it? A light step. It's an easy step to do. And we'll just ask you a few questions. We'll listen to you. And then we'll give you one or two next steps. But at least one is our goal. Right?
Yeah. Because we don't expect to answer 10 years of pondering or a year's worth of pondering or fact finding in 15 minutes. We're not delusional. What we're really looking for is what's that one thing, one next step that would be a wise choice. And often it's gathering more information.
Mhm.
Often it's making one little decision that will then lead you to another decision. Sometimes it's nothing more in the conversation than a reality check.
Yeah, and today,
Reality check?
a reality check. Nice. This conversation is about much more than just AI.
Oh,
It's about how do we make important decisions. And you and I bounce things off of each other frequently to make important decisions. And information, we've got more available than we ever have. People feel less certain than they ever have. And the wisdom requires context. It requires discernment. It requires understanding relationships. And it requires human understanding.
let's go back to the context.
Yeah, context.
I think relationship and context are two pieces that without those, you can't get discernment. You can't get real understanding. It needs to be all put together. And as much as the machines are getting better, they can't get inside your body. They can't get inside your nervous system because so much of this stuff is even when I'm having a conversation with a client, whether on the phone during a clarity call or whether in person or on a Zoom consult, what ends up happening is I feel their energy shift.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a time to say, oh, tell me a little bit more about that. Right? And as you hear, tell me a little bit more about that, then you go off in a totally different direction than you could have gone if you didn't feel the energy shift.
Right.
Something so simple as an energy that's different than it was 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, and you can hear that in the voice. It's more difficult though.
Yeah.
And then Zoom would be the next best level. And then the ultimate is being in person.
Right.
Because you get the energy, the body language, everything, right? Zoom, you're limited in the amount of body language that you can pick up.
And you can still pick up some. And even in the voice, you can hear so much. So much. So if you're really, what we're attempting to say to you is if you're facing a difficult or even an important decision, it doesn't even have to be difficult, it's just important, don't settle just for more data, more information, more analysis. Choose to take that one little step. Did you say DekkerTeam.com?
I did.
He did. But I'm going to say it again. Dekker, third time's a charm. DekkerTeam.com. And you can book, like I say, we try and keep it right around 15 minutes. Sometimes it goes over. But really, we're not solving all of it. We're just solving the next. And these tools are great. You could already spend 10 hours, 15 hours, 20 hours gathering data using the tools. They're not bad.
Nope.
They just don't replace the human.
Yep. And, information's never been more available. AI is getting smarter every week, every day, every month. And perhaps that's exactly why wisdom has never been more valuable than it is now.
Yeah, I think more than ever. Discernment, wisdom, focus, clarity, knowing your priorities. Let's not forget about that. Because if you're not clear, there's no clarity call that's going to help you if you're not clear on who you are and what's important to you.
Yeah, you got to know your values.
You got to know
100%.
you. And so you come to the table with that. And then our job is really just to ask the questions that take you a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper until you get to some sort of understanding of your one next step.
Yeah. Your best decision fits your life, not just the data.
Exactly.
So life feels lighter when we navigate it with others. That's why we say thanks for joining us on Life's Inside Track. And remember, when we move forward together, we've got this.
Moving forward with the Dekker team. Moving forward together with the Dekker team.